Bret Hamilton, and I thought for our visual, instead of doing a simple graph, I wanted to present something to you that would also be visual. And so I wanted to call this On the Road to Curricular Change. Okay, we're talking about strategies for changing curriculum and how I would do it. I've noticed that the path of learning tends to follow planning, implementing, assessing, and then finally adapting. And that's kind of a cycle that we continuously do, like our cycle of continuous improvement. What I've noticed about that is it's very similar to a wheel. We are continually turning and rolling and rolling. So I'm calling this On the Road to Curricular Change, and in keeping with that, I've created a growth highway with vision and mission along the way as our guidelines, and of course, the school bus to take us there. So, that in mind, planning this task can use many of the steps that we've seen in DataWise and with our action plans. It's important to use what we've already learned to make this process an effective one. Consider the process of continuous improvement, how it spins like a wheel. So we're going to plan, implement, assess, revise, and start over again. Let's get rolling. It's good to remember that education is based on adding, building, and developing information that we already have. We retain and use information because when we can connect it with things that we already know. So curriculum change is not throwing out our previous process. Instead, it's refining and focusing what we already know with our content and adapting it to make it more efficient and effective. Let's start by asking, where are we now and where do we want to be? What if we're perfectly happy with where we want to be? We have super high scores, then probably we don't need to go anywhere. But I haven't been to that school yet, and you probably haven't either. So let's take a look at what we need to do to make changes. First, we need to pinpoint where our issue is. Where's the problem? If the answer is no, we're not where we want to be, then we need to figure out what that problem is and get along the way to finding the solutions. So this journey is something we couldn't and shouldn't do alone. We need to load up our bus with stakeholders like parents and experts like teachers and even school board members and other administration to keep them involved in the process. So they all load onto the bus and we develop a team that's going to focus on the issues that we see are necessary based on the data and then apply it to our research for how to make the curriculum change and grow in the way that we need for it to. So, once the team's decided what we need, they begin to search for solutions. These solutions have to meet certain criteria. Do they work? Do we have the resources to make them work? Maybe if it's a curriculum that we're buying, can we afford to buy it? Is it possible to use the curriculum in the way that we want to? Does it work for all the students? Does it work for all the teachers? So once we find a plan, we start to move it ahead. And this means what we should probably do is develop a pilot team. So maybe we let some of the people off and focus on a team that is actually going to work on implementing the plan. So we need to see if it's actually going to be effective. So they work with the plan for maybe several months. This process may take a while. It may take a year to actually try a curriculum and see if it's doing everything we need for it to do. Each phase of the journey must stay within the guidelines of the mission and vision of the school. So we move it along the way. We're getting a little bit further. And what's the pilot team looking for? They're looking for knowledge complexity. In other words, is it tough enough? Is this something that's really going to allow the kids to grow? Essential acquisition. Is it renewable? Can we change and adapt it? Scope and sequence. Does it cover a wide enough range of material? And is it deep enough into those materials? We want to make sure that there's an integrative approach to it. Is it going to combine well with what we have going on? And a valid consideration, is it going to be relevant and useful? Is it going to be interesting and significant to the kids? And finally, is it a useful endeavor? Are they going to walk away from this period of curriculum change and with this new curriculum and say, yes, I know more and I can use this material? all along the way, we need to have SMART goals in mind. So they need to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. So it's not an endless journey. Okay? So we change so we can grow. The destination, it's off there somewhere. We keep traveling off, and you'll notice that the growth path just continues off down the road and disappears. So when the stakeholders examine the result of the pilot team, they may accept or reject the conclusions. But if they accept it, we have to practice it, and we continue evaluating it. We continue to plan it, roll out the changes gradually, and then we evaluate the changes as we go. We plan again, we implement again, we assess again. And the wheels of the bus go round and round.